Wrestling fans, promoters, wrestlers, and anyone who enjoys pro wrestling now have something new to be excited about. The Wrestling Fans International Association, the WFIA, is back. WFIA is an association that exists to promote, grow, and support professional wrestling throughout the world. Membership is free. Your membership includes a free digital bi-monthly publication of the Wrestling Fan News newsletter, association updates, voting privileges, and much more. Please go to thewfia.org, that's THEWFIA.org, and become a member today.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Pro Wrestle Zone. I'm Rick Del Santo, joined by
Harry Davila, baby.
There you go. We are here to talk the world of professional wrestling as we do each and every week on this glorious Sunday afternoon, and we've got quite a bit of stuff to check out, to talk about, I should say. Yeah, we had you had a show, Blood, Sweat, and Tears Wrestling had a really good show over July 4th weekend. We celebrated the 4th, of course. So first, before we get into any wrestling, how did you celebrate this weekend? Did you have a fun, or I should say Tuesday, because it was the 4th was on a regular day this week.
I had a pretty relaxing day, even with the rain. I spent it with family. We stood on their back porch. Luckily, their porch kind of has shielding, like it'll block off the rain and stuff.
Yeah.
But we were all back there just having a good old time. Enjoying each other's company. We talked, laughed, the normal family stuff. But I came home and I sat on my back porch and fireworks just seemed to be going off on the street over. So very happy that I didn't have to go anywhere to watch fireworks. I watched them all from my backyard. Great night.
It was
how was yours?
It was good. It was fun. I got a little inebriated, as I do every holiday. We did not go anywhere or have anybody over. Well, we had a couple people over, I should say, just not quite the crowd that we normally would for a day such as this, So we ended up, I ended up grilling some burgers, hot dogs, and some ribs. And about 30 minutes in, the rain just came down so hard. And I just sat out there grilling the entire time. I got soaking wet. It was fun, though. But, came in, changed, ate, and continued to drink and eat.
My daughter and her cousins were all kind of with each other. And just to kind of give you a bigger picture here, my daughter is 3 months. Her cousin is 3 months. And then her other cousin is 7 months. Her mother is a grandmother to 3 kids, all 7 months apart.
Jeez. Wow.
So we get the kids together. We take a couple cute pictures. A lot of fun stuff. Cute, fun stuff.
As long as you guys, I know from experience that you guys, they're so close in age, you're going to grow up very close to each other.
Oh, yeah. That's what I hope, especially the 2 girls.
Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about first? We got a lot of stuff. WWE, we got some independent stuff. Like, you held an event on Saturday.
Yeah, we did hold an event on Saturday. BST had Star Spangled Bash. And, even with the asterisks on the bottom, card subject to change, we had a couple injuries prior to the show that caused some card changes. But even with that, the card I thought was absolutely amazing. I think everybody worked hard. Everybody busted their ass to put out a very fun, very spectacular show for the Connecticut area at Two Roads. And they want us back. So, I would say we crushed it on Saturday. And thank you to everyone who worked and did their thing on Saturday. We couldn't have done it without, 1, the fans, and 2, the wrestlers who, even in the heat, put on some amazing performances. Off the top of my head, LMK and Becca, those 2 women, man, they are spectacular. And they had the crowd roaring. You had LMK busting out Hurricane Ranas off of park benches. It was madness that only LMK can produce. Tag match between Main Event and Wasted Youth was nothing short of a banger,
Yeah,
for lack of a better term. And you were there. You
I
saw it
was. I
firsthand.
was. I had a
I
lot of fun. Me and Matt DeCourt drove down there. Matt DeCourt, of course, the voice of the Northeast, ring
yes,
announcer extraordinaire. He and I went down there together. Took my two boys that are with me, and we went down. We had a lot of fun. I had a blast. I thought that it was good to go down and watch a great evening of professional wrestling. Something I don't get to do as much as I used to from that side, I guess you could say.
yeah. I mean, you had guys like Bobby Orlando and Ichiban who in the Northeast are like who's out here,
Yeah.
and they put on a good 15-minute closer to send everybody home happy. I thought it was a massive success. I've had people come up to me and tell me how much fun they had, and these are not the casual wrestling fans. These are like
Yeah.
just regular people who come to the two rows and ended up seeing the show on the side and ended up coming in, and they had a blast. All overall, I would say it was a successful night over at BSG.
That was my first time at Two Roads. I do drink a couple of their uh, selections. Road to Ruin
Yeah.
is probably my favorite that they
Passion
make.
fruit survey, passion
I
fruit
did see that in
survey.
the store yesterday. That one. So, but at first I had no idea where the wrestling was. I pulled up, got out of the
Mhm.
car. I'm like, this building is goddamn huge. I did not see any flyers advertising it anywhere. I'm like, where the hell is the wrestling? Some guy goes, wrestling? Really? Where? I said, it's supposed to be here somewhere. So eventually I just walk over and I say, hey, there's the ring. And I
Yeah,
saw it. So it was outside.
on the
Nice.
green.
Yep. Nice big green grass area. I gotta tell you, your setup was amazing for that show. You know,
Thank you.
I got to meet James Allen, for the first
Nice.
time.
Yes.
Um,
New
good
World Wrestling
individual.
Extreme.
Yeah, he's been on this podcast before. He did amazing numbers for the podcast, actually. So,
Great
uh,
guy. Great guy.
yeah, yeah, very good guy. And it was a pleasure to meet him in person finally. And like I said, it was great. I got to see other people. Jack Dalton was there, uh, and it was fun to catch up with some people that I and Caesar. It was good to catch up with Caesar as well. I hadn't seen him in a while, so a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my night was I didn't really get to see most of the action due to like taking care of some outside
You were
some
running
stuff in the
around.
back. Yeah, I
Every
was.
time I
I
saw you,
was.
you were just somewhere different, running around at each.
And man, I was kind of like checking, making sure everything was good in the back. Would go around, make sure all the fans were happy. Kind of like just checking in. Seeing how everybody was reacting to the show, and I got to see some action like going back and forth, and uh, the six man between the Mission, uh, La Chica Carreras, Mantequilla, and Evander James. Man, those six people, whew, they got the crowd bumping. They got the crowd pumping. And Stan Michaels, man, he showed me something on that night, man. That dude is entertaining as hell.
He is a very unique professional
Yes,
wrestler, and
that
he
whole
is
group is just full of
hilarious.
unique
Yeah,
people.
I I love Montekia. I think he's great. It was like I said, catching
Yes,
up with some guys and stuff like that. It was very good to see him. I was very happy to see him and and talk to him for a brief moment after the show. Hadn't It's been over a year since I've seen him, so it was cool, man. Like you said, you put on a great show. I thought that the tag match, the main event in Wasted Youth, was a lot of fun. Of course, we had Dustin
mm,
Waller and Jay Onyx put on a decent
start
match. Yeah,
start up the show.
yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. Ichiban and Bobby Orlando was probably Ichiban. Anytime that dude steps in the ring,
Yep,
you're in for a treat.
absolutely. You had Vita Von Star making her return
Yeah,
uh, to the ring and getting a quick win over Skyler, but Skyler looked good even in going against Vita Von Star, who has
yeah.
been around, the Ring of Honor and all that stuff, so this was a big test for Skyler Gray. Um, Then you had the four-way between Andy Brown, Elijah Six, Patrick Saint, and Mark Alexander. And those four guys are just those are four workers, man. They're just hot and heavy, straight to the point. Then you have Bobby Buffet and Travis Jacobs. You know,
Yep.
two Monster Factory guys who absolutely crush it. You know, overall great show, great turnout, and I can't wait to go back to Two Roads, man. I had a great time.
Yeah, man, and they got a little food hut across the street selling their
Yeah.
stuff. So it's very great. We ended up ordering a pizza and getting it delivered instead because I didn't.
That's so awesome. Who
yeah.
goes to a wrestling show and can have stuff delivered to the wrestling show for them?
Well, I had no idea that like there was, you know, a lot of people. I saw other people doing this, so I said, "Hell, I'm doing it." Yeah, I said, me and my boys were starving. I hadn't eaten all day. I went. I think I went to work, and then boom, I came. I went home for about an hour or two, and then went out to the show. So yeah, it was a blast, man. And thank you for putting on a great wrestling show. Why don't you tell me about the that T-shirt that you're wearing there?
Oh, you mean this nice T-shirt right here?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that is a pretty groovy
I
T-shirt.
I can't really see what it says. Can you tell me what it says, Rex?
I can't even read. Jesus. Oh, that girl Cece. There you go. All right.
Yeah,
I'm reading
CC.
backwards. So yeah.
Hit up that girl CC on Instagram for your T-shirts. $20 a pop. These things are amazing, good quality. Has a little bit of textured vibe to it. Man, I got two of these. I got one in yellow, one in gray, and man, these were hotcakes on Saturday. Man, these were hotcakes. So if anything, that girl Cece, you know, get your T-shirts. Get your T-shirts now.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears GM, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Get the GM T-shirt.
There you go. There you go. It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at that show, man. And you know, it's just great to sit down sometimes and watch a nice professional wrestling show. Sit there with your kids.
Yeah.
You know, I had a couple beers on there while I was out there. Had some popcorn, ate the pizza. My son was my 7-year-old. I never, you know, it's funny because this is how I know he's getting a little bit more mature and a little bit older. Is that he actually sat there and watched the show with me. He actually cheered along as opposed to just being distracted by everything around him. So, you know, it was a blast. Yeah.
I like. Granted, the wrestling is always going to be exciting, but I think the best part for me was after the show was over, and the amount of people that stuck around and you know met their favorite wrestlers of the night, and you know the aftermath, you know the fan interaction and the picture taking and all that stuff. You know, we were out there for almost an extra hour just letting them, you know, go crazy, take pictures, and do all the cool stuff. And that was cool. That's what was cool for me. Like seeing that from, okay, show's over. I can relax a little bit. I'm watching everybody, and everybody's just having a good old time talking. You know, it just, I love the atmosphere. Love the atmosphere.
So let's see. What do you want to start off with? You want to start off with Money in the Bank?
Yeah, let's start off with Money in the Bank, baby. That was a hell of a show. Woo.
You're right. I watched the first match before I came down to Money in the Bank. Go ahead.
I got to see it. Sorry, I got to see it when I got home. So
I attempted, but I will tell you about that story.
Like, oh no, trust me, I don't think I got through it all until the next day.
Yeah.
So because of all the running around that was happening, my legs were like mush by the time I got home. I'm pretty sure you can now call me Quadzilla after Saturday. But we got to watch a little bit of the show, you know, and from what I saw, Damian Priest, heck yeah, Mr. Money in the Bank. That was my pick the whole time. I'm so hyped that he's going to get a run. That man deserves it after stealing the international market at Backlash. Dude took a non-wrestler. I'm going to state this again. Took a non-wrestler and had a close to 5-star matchup in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
There's no doubting that he deserves that spot. LA Knight, don't get me wrong. He's going to get his time. His time is coming. Please do not, oh, he should have been Money in the Bank. Trust me, the way Triple H is booking right now, and it's let the slow build happen. Look at the main event, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But if you see what he's done with the Bloodline storyline, then you know Triple H is going to do some cool stuff with LA Knight. LA Knight will get his shine in due time.
Yeah. I believe it, but it's good things come to those who wait. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. What else? Then you had the women's tag title match, which was a lot of nothing. This is the
It was
only
over.
down.
It was 9 minutes. Okay, of nothing. This was I mean, it was an okay match. Okay, this is. I don't want to say it was bad because it definitely wasn't bad, but it's just this is the show did not benefit or take anything away either way. You know what I mean? It's just it didn't matter.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Nothing about this match. Okay, so this is easy for those who kind of like read the dirt sheets and all that stuff. People know Ronda has a hard out. It's been reported on most reputable sites. After SummerSlam, Ronda may be out the door for like forever, never to return. So this was their way of kind of setting up Ronda's last match with Shayna Baszler. You know when that could have happened? On Monday.
Right. Well, okay. We're gonna
That
get
could have
into
happened on Monday.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, that could have happened on Monday. They could have easily lost the tag titles, and then the next day on the Raw say that they won a rematch, but then Shayna goes, nah, I don't want that. I'm just going to whoop your ass. That's what could have happened. No, they put it on pay-per-view in a random switch in the middle of a match that made no sense. Like, if you guys are winning a match, if me and you are winning a match, right?
Yeah.
Right? And titles are on the line. Titles that are supposed to mean something. And in the middle of the match, your championship tag partner, let me state that again, championship tag partner, as in you're currently champions, attack you from behind for no reason, and I'm supposed to care why? You just diminish the tag titles, Liv and what's this girl's name? Raquel
Rodriguez. Excuse me.
Their tag title win means nothing now.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a storyline between two of the former four horsewomen of MMA, and it's probably going to be trash unless Shayna saves it. So that I don't care at all about this whole storyline.
Fair enough. Yeah. Of course, from there we had Gunther and Matt Riddle. Gunther defeated Riddle by submission. He worked that leg throughout the entire match, pretty much. I love this match. It was short, but it was sweet. It was a very good, basically, Gunther being Gunther, just going in there and annihilating Matt Riddle. It was very good, I thought. And Matt Riddle, put on a hell of a show as well.
So the cool thing about this match is that they've already booked Gunther to be this monster of a wrestler. He is like a god. He's almost on god level, almost Roman level, as far as like what he's producing. Like his match with Sheamus set him on a skyrocket trip to the sky. He's got that rocket strapped to his back right now. Beating him clean is gonna be something big when somebody actually does it.
Yeah.
Now, what they did here is they give a storyline to Riddle. He's got the injured ankle. So you would think normally Riddle could take Gunther and have a pretty 20 minute banger, 15, 20 minute, go around.
Right.
But with giving Riddle the injury, it gives Gunther more of an advantage, and he ends it in quick fashion. So it doesn't look like, oh, Riddle injured, can almost beat Gunther, but now Sheamus doesn't at full health. You know what I'm saying? It made sense to have the match be that short
Right.
because he's already working with the injury.
Right.
Gunther should be able to take full advantage and win. And he did.
Correct.
And it was beautiful storytelling. Riddle and Gunther always had good chemistry. If you get an opportunity, go on YouTube, watch their Evolve stuff, watch Progress stuff.
I was going to
Man,
say they
they
made
had
reference to the match in progress
yes,
during the match, but that was I realized it was like that's not the second reference that they've made to another company as of
no.
late. But however, I just realized that they own most of the Progress library up to a certain date, so that's going to be on Peacock under the WWE section.
Might be on Peacock. Actually, if you probably put on the best of Gunther or Walter at the time, that should probably still be on Peacock. You might be able to see that match. It might be on there, but they've had a few instances where they brawled. I've actually had the opportunity to watch a 4-way. It was Riddle, Keith Lee, Gunther, and Austin Theory. It was a Progress / Evolve show that they had when Progress made the U.S. trip a couple years ago.
Right.
And they when I tell you in a sweat box, because that was a sweat box, they killed each other, absolutely killed each other. So to see them now kind of relive that rivalry on live TV for everyone to see is also pretty fucking cool. Excuse my language, sorry.
We had Cody Rhodes defeating Dominic Mysterio. It is what it is.
It is what it is. This was just to put Cody over and give Dominic a little bit of a shine. You know, Dominic has been doing amazing as of late with some of the more veteran superstars, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about Raw. But this was just honestly just another match for Cody in his build on his way to who he has next, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Raw.
We will. I know. Not that everybody probably hasn't seen it already, but
Yeah.
For the few that haven't. Anyways, the women's Money in the Bank match.
A lot of fun.
There's a couple spots I didn't particularly care for, but
okay.
it was some. I absolutely am gonna, and you might have heard me say this one with Marcel. So I do have my opinions on this. Io Sky took the victory.
Yep.
Well deserved, I might add.
Yeah.
My pick throughout this match was between her and Zelina Vega. I thought that there was a number of occasions that I thought Vega was going to take it. But with these matches, as predictable as they might be, sometimes it's really not as predictable as you think.
We've had a few.
Yeah, there was a tumble that I saw Trish Stratus take that it looked too choreographed, and she did it on purpose, as opposed to be her being thrown into the ladder. It just it's that just
she kind of put her forward rolled onto it.
Yeah, she kind of put her hands out to catch herself to make sure. Oh, I got to make sure I don't get her.
Yeah, she tried to take it as safe as possible. It just didn't look great.
It didn't look good for the camera.
No, not at all.
And the other thing about that is the other one that I really loved about this was when the handcuffs got involved, and they were Bailey got fish hooked in the mouth with the end. I absolutely loved that. And then the ending where they got handcuffed to each other in the middle of the ladder, I thought was kind of original. And then Io Sky went, Io Sky went and took the win.
I was very much hoping for an Io Sky win. Io Sky versus Asuka or Rhea is gonna be great. Either way. So and this is only gonna lead to the breakup of Damage Control. And as you can see with WWE, they're apparently gonna break up all the stables. That's what looks like it's happening.
Yeah, it always happens.
But again, Io Sky, it was her time, and I'm glad she took the win.
Seth Rollins defeated Finn Balor. In my opinion, this was a cool down match. The world title
Really?
match was the cool down match. Yeah, man. The match, the freaking women's Money in the Bank was a hot match, I thought. And then this match, I mean, I'm not saying this was a bad match. Like, these two could go. And this was like something that should have been on like Monday Night Raw. Catch my drift? It wasn't a match that was set for pay-per-view. It did not have a pay-per-view feel. It was like, all right, we're going to just basically put this on and we got to cool the crowd down before our main event. So because our main event's going to be hot, which it was.
I can see your thought process on this. I can see it. Okay, now that you said it, and I'm replaying it in my head. I mean, prior to these comments, I still would have given this like if I'm Dave Meltzer here, 4 stars. You know, I still
I'm not saying, like I said, like it was a very good match, but it was in one of those matches that literally probably could have been headline on Monday Night Raw or in the middle of Monday Night Raw. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. Seth Rollins is probably one of the best on in WWE today, as is Finn Balor.
It's not SummerSlam 2016, is what you're telling me.
Thank you.
No. Hey, I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't have necessarily called it a cool down match, but you know what? That's probably what it was. It was a good enough match where you can pass that it's on pay-per-view, but it was to get everybody ready for what we're about to talk about next.
The Bloodline Civil War. The Usos, believe it or not, defeated the Bloodline. It was Roman Reigns that took the pin. Jey Uso shocked the world. And
match of the year.
I'm gonna say this. That's an impressive. That right there, what you're saying right there.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is, without a shadow of a doubt, match of the year. And the story leading into it. Roman Reigns hasn't been pinned 3 years. 3 years has not been pinned. Only for it to be the man. Jey Uso.
Yep.
And I have friends, I will call them up right now, who I've been telling since even before Cody lost at Mania, Jey Uso is going to be the one. Jey Uso is going to be the man that pins Roman Reigns. Jey Uso is going to be a future Universal World Heavyweight Champion. And I still believe that. SummerSlam, it's going to be Jey Uso and Roman. And the way they ended this was absolutely beautiful. Roman's facials throughout the whole match told such a story inside of another story, which was how the Usos were going to ultimately beat Roman Reigns. I thought it was going to be Sammy the one that beat him first. I did. But I knew Roman was going to take the loss to Jey, and Jey was going to be in line at SummerSlam. And I thoroughly think Jey is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
That is a great take. Wow.
They've been plotting this the whole time. They've been plotting it the whole time. When everything happened a couple weeks ago, when the Usos were finally out of the bloodline, who was the one? Who was the one that had to make the final decision? Jey Uso.
Yeah.
When Sammy was going through all this stuff, who was the one that defended Sammy? Jey Uso. When all this started, who was the one that started everything? Jey Uso. This bloodline storyline, while it made Roman into this godlike character, at the end of the day, the main character wasn't Roman Reigns. It was Jey Uso. And look at how far he's gotten in 3 years. He went from stereotypical tag team wrestler to the main event.
Main event Jey Uso.
He's going to main event SummerSlam. It's gonna be wild.
Okay. We're gonna find out in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. That I'm certain of.
I'll put it to you like this. By Friday, if it's not announced, I'll be shocked.
Wow. So keep it right here, folks. Yeah. And we will be discussing that next week.
Absolutely.
Either way, I rate this show Highly, very highly. I loved this show. I thought it was top to
I would give
bottom.
it a solid B plus.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Obviously we spoke about the Cody Dom. It was just a regular match. I wouldn't say it took away from the show, but it also didn't add. Same with the women's tag title match. Rollins Balor, like you said, it should have had more importance, and it should have had more of I guess more storytelling in the match. And I felt like you said, it was good, it was passable, but it wasn't what we know that they can produce. But
Yeah.
on the plus side, the women and the men in the Money in the Bank both had tremendous matches. Gunther and Riddle told a short but good story, to advance Gunther as this dominant monster on the roster. And then obviously the main event, top to bottom, WWE PLEs as of late have been knocking out the park.
The last, probably since the Royal Rumble, or since actually this whole year's shows have been just extremely well done. Between production, match quality, crowd reaction, it's just been phenomenal.
I want you to see it. Think of it like this. Last year, even before the whole Vince stuff, we wouldn't be saying this. We would be like, man, WWE had another pay-per-view. WWE pooped the bed again.
For the most part, yeah.
And in one year, we're now saying they're 6 for 6.
They needed the fresh booking, the fresh booker, I guess you could say. Somebody that's got, Vince has been doing it for 60 freaking years, 60 freaking years, something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
He doesn't know what
50 something years. He's getting up there, and it's not to say that he's not a genius and that he hasn't done amazing things with his, but he's just, things are just a little, when him in charge, are just a little stale, a little boring. Not that everything was, but
yeah, no, he was a genius. I don't think he is anymore. I think he lost touch with what us as fans want. And yes, there's still people who will still support the brand, and I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying that I don't watch, because I love, the sport at the end of the day. But, I guess you could call me a masochist, because I would still go back. Now it's like, I love it. I'm falling in love again with the WWE.
No, I hear you, and I think a lot of people are going in that direction, to be honest with you. And I think with, you got to, and I think with a lot of it, I don't want to sound like, like one of those internet fans, but the IWC, but there's a lot of things that play into it. Okay. You look at, AEW is not living up to being the alternative that it was setting itself out to be. It's just kind of, it's a clone in a way of WWE in a way. It's different than it was when it first started. Yeah. They're going the direction of sports entertainment, and they have been for a very long time. And am I going to say that the show is terrible? Not by any means. Well, not by any means. Okay, we'll just say that. They have an amazing roster. It's just not for me. It's just there's just something there that's missing. They're not setting themselves apart, using a lot of guys. They're just jumping ship over to the company and not really doing as much with them. They don't fire people. They have too many people on the roster they don't know what to do with, so you don't ever see them.
No, and this is kind of like the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. This is where they bring back things like Dark and Dark Elevation, because those shows would showcase those people who aren't on TV every week.
Yeah.
And now with this third show, Collision, and honestly, I hate to be this person. I really do. I do not even want to give the show the credit that I think it's going to get right now. But Collision is the best show out of the three. And
all right, so it's been a while. It's been a while since I've watched Dynamite. I think I watched the last time was the one before Forbidden Door. Okay.
Yep.
So a few weeks, and that was the first one I'd watched in probably a month maybe. And it's not that it's like I spend a lot of time reading or watching the highlights and stuff like that. It's not that I don't watch
Yeah.
it. Rampage, I've just completely have given up on for the most part, unless there's going to be something special there.
I'm never home.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
well,
never
there's
home.
like I usually get home from work at, probably a half hour before it starts. I'm not about to sit down and watch wrestling. I usually sit down, have a meal with my wife, and then I usually just go because I got to wake up early on Saturdays. I usually end up going downstairs and getting ready for the next day. Or if I'm not recording a podcast, you know what I mean? Sitting here. So Rampage, but I've actually gotten a chance to watch Collision for the first time, was starting with episode 3. And for the most part, I enjoyed what I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
It opened up with a good old fashioned squash match between MJF and a localized talent, which of course turned into Ethan Page turning babyface in his hometown.
Yeah, that's right. Because he now with Matt Hardy and I like what they're doing with Ethan. I love Ethan Page. Ethan Page is one of those guys who actually I was in a dark time a couple years ago, and I'm not going to get too dark here, but Ethan Page is one of those guys that kind of like warped my mindset from where I was at to kind of like where I'm at now. Right. Seeing certain things that he does, his toy hunts and his vlogs are so much fun to watch. And I sound like a Mark saying all this stuff, but Ethan Page is just a phenomenal human, and that I've gotten to talk to a few times. And I'm happy that he's finally getting some type of spotlight. Not with not lost in the shuffle of a heel stable and stuff like that. Now, like, he's getting some real shine, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Same here. I thought that I loved him in Impact when he was with the North.
Oh, North Monster Mafia with Josh Alexander. Oh man, what a tag team!
And then when they, when he left, and he came to Impact, I was very happy. Or excuse me, came to AEW. I was very happy for him to see him there.
Yeah,
it's a major shift going from AEW to going from Impact to AEW. I'm sorry, I'm confusing my words here. But I quite enjoy watching him. I think he's probably one of the most underrated performers in professional wrestling. And he speaks celebrity to me. You know what I mean? He just seems like he's just a celebrity. His performance level, his facials, it's just the way he is.
His favorite wrestler growing up is The Rock. So, and you can definitely see the mannerisms and in the way he dresses for promos and how he talks on the mic, the little things he does in the ring. He definitely has a lot of Dwayne in him.
Right.
Now it's just time to show it up to the TV, and everybody watching. So I really hope it takes off for him.
So we had Monday Night Raw on Monday, of course, the 3rd.
Yeah.
Let's go over this a little bit. I didn't watch the whole show. I watched a little bit, but you can enlighten me, I guess.
Starts off with a promo. Cody and Rollins, it looks like it looked like that was going to be the next title setup, and then Brock shows up. Cody's like, screw this. I'm just going to go beat up Brock instead of getting a shot at the title. And I'm just sitting there like, why would you do that? I get it. You hate this man, but the championship is like within your grasp. Why are you not, like, I'm not chasing that guy. I'm going after the title. That's just me though. I like to use common sense. But I know in wrestling, there's not a lot of that. So, whatever. I guess we're going to set up for Brock for some reason. Miz cut a promo talking about how the last person that thought they were going to get rid of him, not in the company anymore. And I thought that was a really good promo to put over the Miz as a serious contender for Ciampa. We talked about it earlier. And being more storyline stuff with eventual breakup and Judgment Day. And I mean, it was all right for what it was. American Alpha got a win. You know, I thought it was just like a it was a filler show for me. It wasn't anything crazy. Not a lot to really report. It was just really like, let's progress some storylines and let's keep it moving.
Yeah, it was just a weak show. Yeah.
Yep, that's all it was. And that, like, the way WWE is kind of like doing their things now with TV and stuff, I'm not necessarily mad that this was just like a fly by seat show. It was like whatever, a lot of storyline filler. And I believe the way they're doing it, okay, excuse me, let me rewind. I'm okay with what they're doing, only because they're producing really good TV at the end of the day. And all this storyline filler stuff, we're getting payoffs for now.
Yeah.
Before we would get these payoffs and we'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Now we're getting payoffs and it's like, oh, this is what I wanted. So, you know, like they're not thinking we're stupid anymore. They're not insulting our intelligence. They're showing us like, this is what's happening. This is why it's happening. This is the end result. And they're doing great. SmackDown's where it's at. And
SmackDown's, I think, out of the three, I should say, is probably the best out of the three between that and NXT.
Show. Yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And for one reason, the bloodline.
Well, there's that, and it's not an extra hour as well. That's the other thing. Sitting through 3 hours is a tough. If it was an actual professional wrestling show to sit and watch, say you're watching a night of the matches, like when they used to air on MSG or something, or in essence, something to that effect.
Yep.
And you're watching a night of straight matches, it's different. But they have to write content for 3 hours a week for the entire year. That's 50-something shows a year. It's just, it's got to be tiring. Not everything could be good, and some things are just gonna be bad. You have no choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, you nailed it. You know, this isn't a night live at Madison Square Garden. You know, with a house show that aired, you know, like a week prior, 2 weeks prior, and they're not showing it on the network. No, this is live every week. Monday Night Raw, written by people for 3 straight hours, and you have to grab our attention for 3 straight hours. How hard is that? How hard is that when? And I don't mean this insulting, but our attention spans are like very minimal. Like, let's be honest here. If you're not grabbing us in the first 2 minutes, 90% of the time we're changing the channel. And with all these streaming services that we have now, it's harder. Because we can easily go, I don't want to watch this. I'm just going to put on a movie, click, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I did last night. You know that, like, I haven't watched wrestling. I mean, I watched a little bit Monday night, but I haven't been watching a lot of wrestling. It's just
like every time I try to sit down and watch wrestling, especially here, something has kind of like interrupted this week.
We both have kids, so I mean, I don't get me wrong, I do watch. It's just I can't watch everything. I don't have the time to watch everything. It's tiring. We both work, you know.
You know, we both work. We both have wrestling companies that we work with, so we're working with stuff with that. And you know, we have our kids and work. So it's a lot, and like there's days where I can get to, sit down and watch Wrestling Open, and then I'll watch some stuff on YouTube, and I'll catch up on like Fight Plus. But then there's days where like I'll go 2-3 days and I won't be able to watch a single match.
Yeah, exactly. It's very hard to be a fan when you're busy all the time.
And there's so much wrestling happening.
Yes.
Like whether it is the independents, whether it be like, mainstream professional, whether it be international stuff, there is literally wrestling 6 out of the 7 days a week. Actually, there's
wrestling 8 days, 8 days out of the 7 days. All right.
Yeah.
There's wrestling.
The only day that doesn't have wrestling weekly is a Sunday, and there's always that one day out of the month where there
Yep.
is. So
A
like,
lot of times on IWTV, there's like stuff streaming on
oh yeah,
Sundays. You know what I mean? Whether it be
yeah,
H2O or sometimes the bigger Beyond shows might air on a Limitless will air on a Sunday. I'm just naming those as an examples. But yeah,
oh yeah,
there's normally, I mean, there's literally some sort of wrestling 7 days out of the week. I mean,
you know,
it's so hard to keep up with. And if I didn't have a job or something like that, I'd be able to watch it as much as I wanted. But I'd
so
probably get sick of it. I mean, I get sick of it now at times. You know what I mean? But we're both involved in the business in different
different
levels.
aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and to touch on what I was saying earlier, those 6 out of the 7 days, I'm talking about mainstream stuff. I'm not even talking about independence. I'm not talking about international. I'm not talking about like
Yeah.
all that other stuff. I'm talking about just straight mainstream stuff. Because let's go down the list.
I'm gonna
Monday
give
you have
your
Raw.
6 nights. Yeah.
Monday
Yep.
you have Raw. Tuesday you have NXT. Wednesday you have Impact. Thursday you have
Thursday Impact's Thursdays. Wednesdays
Impact is Thursday.
Wednesdays is Dynamite.
Fridays is Dynamite.
Yep.
Fridays is Rampage, and now Saturdays is Collision. So
And then
actually,
SmackDown
Friday
as well.
is
Yeah.
SmackDown, So that's 6 out of the 7 days of just mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
You're not including your wrestling opens on a Thursday. You're not including your H2Os on a Sunday, or your Limitless, like you said, on a Sunday, or
The
any other
NWA,
show that
United Wrestling Network,
this is
WLW.
so
I'm just going over other stuff like independents that I watch that have weekly television.
New, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely no, like New Japan.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
their
international market. CMLL, AAA, they all start. CMLL still runs full events on YouTube several times a week.
on Wednesdays. Those are so. Actually, I figured out how they do their YouTube stuff. It's not necessarily live.
Okay.
What they do is they tape it a month in advance, and then they air it on YouTube. Only reason I kind of figured that out is I have a friend of mine who wrestled recently for CMML, named Jay Rios, or Uraculo, and he had a 4-way Cabellera versus Caballeras match with Volador, Romero, and I want to say Angel de Oro, but I think I'm wrong on the last one. And that match happened in like May. And then it aired on YouTube in June.
Okay.
And I was like, huh. And then I started piecing things together, asked a couple of questions, and I kind of got the answers that I was looking for. But yeah,
that explains why half the stuff that goes live on their channels at like during the day. So
yeah. But they stream as well. You sometimes have to pay, $10 American, but they stream their shows on, I think, Ticketmaster, which is weird to me because I didn't know Ticketmaster did like.
When did they start doing that? When they start doing that?
Couldn't even give you an answer.
Christ, now they're getting into the streaming game. This is insane.
Like, there's just literally wrestling everywhere you look. And that's why I think a lot of the independents now are booming the way they are, because there's just so much wrestling and it's become so hot. So hot.
Let me just tell you, before the pandemic, independent wrestling was on fire, right?
Yes.
And then people were like, oh, the pandemic happened. We suffered for 3 years. The independents are never going to come back the way they were, blah, 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 blah.
Never going to recover.
Bull crap. Because I'm going to tell you now, the independents are even more on fire because the people want it and the people want quality professional wrestling. So people missed it. So it ended up having a lot of people were guessing that independent wrestling would never recover, but it's the complete opposite. People missed it and people just wanted it. You'd be able to take your family out for a night of professional wrestling at a decent price. It's surviving. Definitely, it is thriving. It is out there, and it's some of the best professional wrestling. I told you, man. I was just at your show last Saturday, and I had a blast. It was the first time I got to sit down and watch a live show, in quite some time that I was not doing some sort of work for, you know?
Uh, it so I call pandemic era wrestling the the long distance girlfriend, and only because like you can see it on TV, you can hear it over the phone, but then once we started getting back and we started reuniting us and wrestling, it was almost like we didn't miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, we grew stronger in missing each
That's
other.
exactly. I think it grew stronger. I think it grew
Yeah.
a lot stronger.
They always say the heart grows stronger when, you know, when things are not, you know, the saying. I can't really piece it together right now, but you get exactly where I'm going with it.
Makes their heart grow fonder, basically. Yes.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's exactly what happened with independent wrestling. And now look at some of these shows. And, you know, not to discredit anyone, because this includes us at BST, but sometimes I sit back and I go, some of these shows had no good reason to draw as many people as they did. There's a few shows that I've got and they were not great and they still drew 100 people. And I'm like, has no business drawing it. But you know what? It's because of that. Because they missed wrestling on all levels.
Yeah.
You know? That leads me into like your upcoming show we have coming up. August 4th.
That's a great segue, as I have the talent list right here in front of me. August 4th, the Elks Lodge, West Haven, Connecticut, Coliseum Pro Wrestling presents Clash of the Coliseum. We got a number of sponsors. If you want to get involved as a sponsor, of course, hit up Coliseum Pro Wrestling 2023 at gmail.com, and you will be in touch with the bosses over there, and you will get a lot of fun. And you will be invited down to Coliseum Pro Wrestling. I want everybody to show up to the show because the last show was simply amazing. Of course, you can go and watch Course of Honor 2023 right now on YouTube, on the Coliseum Pro Wrestling YouTube, and you will have a fantastic viewing experience. I'm telling you right now.
Yes. You guys have a pretty stacked lineup coming up.
We do, and I've been speaking to the powers that be. We are booked for months ahead. So I'm just telling you right now, we've got a lot of great things coming up and a lot of really great ideas. So I want to see you all there. Okay. Wait, let me go over what else do we got here before I jump in.
So actually, as soon as you're done, something just link breaking came across my phone for another company that has been doing some really cool stuff. But I don't want to take away from CPW because I'm actually really excited for your show. So go ahead, let me know who's on the card.
We have the Coliseum Heavyweight Champion Hunter Tarka returning for Clash of the Coliseum. Strong Will Champion Strong Will Champion Nutrius X coming in, returning. We have Hustle and Muscle, the new tag team champions, will be there as well. I'm excited to see those guys. Fly Nine Noriega and Edric Cash, better known as Paid in Full, will be making their return, especially after that intense matchup Fly Nine had with Sunset Steven Garcia last month. We're going to see the Coliseum Pro Wrestling debuts of Malik Delvante, which I'm very excited for, actually. This guy is trained by Casey Navarro, and he's getting his name out there, and this kid has got a lot of potential, man. He's going to have been around for a little while now.
That might be a hidden diamond for you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited to see Malik Delvante, excuse me.
Yep. We have the Iron Outlaw, John West, also making his Coliseum Pro Wrestling debut. I got to check out some of his footage. The powers that be sent me a couple links to some of his footage. I was quite impressed. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be another sleeper here for Coliseum Pro Wrestling.
Wait a minute.
We also have the New Age Wrestling Tag Team Champions Johnny Santos and Sebastian Cage, better known as First Class. Both of them, they've never been there as a tag team, Coliseum. They've wrestled both of them as singles. This is Sebastian Cage has not been back since, I believe, the first Coliseum show last year. Yeah, the tournament, exactly. We got the Haven coming in. They'll be returning. Bobby Buffet's returning. We've got Mills Hendricks is making his debut. All right, the viral one.
I just saw that.
Yeah,
I just saw that, and that young man's gonna be something very soon. I'm glad he's coming up. Very excited for that.
He's getting. We also have the Luis Leon's coming in, and we have the Vitrano brothers returning. So I want everybody to tune in if you guys can.
Brothers. Oh, yeah. Love the Vitrano brothers.
Yeah, I want to see everybody come down. That's the Elks Lodge, West Haven, Connecticut.
Listen,
there's so much more that's going to be announced too. So keep an eye out, guys.
I promise you, I will be there. I will be there front and center because I have a feeling this show is going to be the sleeper show of the summer. Mark my words.
I think this is going to be a very good show. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a bunch of shows planned out for the rest of the year into early next year. And good. I'm really looking forward to being part of it. So what's the late breaking news there, Harry?
So our friends over at Tetsu Pro just announced August 26th, they are going to be in a new home at the Bristol Boys and Girls Club. And they have an 8-man tournament to become the Tetsu Pro champion.
Oh, all right. All right.
Champion's ballad for Tetsu Pro. That'll be August 26th, 2023. That's another brand that has some amazing professional wrestling. And the cool thing is that separates them from even us two is their aesthetic is a little different because they don't wrestle in the normal 4x4 ring, four sides, 18 or 16 by 16. No, they have a 6-sided ring, and that leads to a lot more action, brother. So I'm very excited for Tetsu Pro. August 26th, August 4th, Coliseum Pro. Connecticut is hot. Let me say that again. Connecticut is hot for professional wrestling.
Well, I think we've put our opinions on that many times here on this show. That Connecticut is the place for professional wrestling. It is hot right now. Yeah. So if you guys are, you guys are not watching, you guys are living in Connecticut, you guys are living in New York, you guys are living in Massachusetts, you guys are living in Rhode Island, you guys are close enough to take a little bit, 45 minute to an hour drive. Come on down. Seriously, I promise you, Coliseum Pro Wrestling, blood, sweat, and tears. Even that Tetsu show, that they're a very unique company. I want to see some of your beautiful faces coming out to these wrestling shows and come and say hello to myself or Harry.
Absolutely. I'm always down for a good conversation. By all means, stop me, say hello. I just love it. Just love wrestling, man. It's going to be a good time at all these shows. There's a couple shows coming up, even as soon as even next week. Next week, the next 2 weeks have a lot of good independent wrestling coming up. We can start off with
what's going on this week. Yeah.
So Friday it is Blitzkrieg Pros Luau up in Enfield again. This could, and they announced it earlier on Twitter, which breaks my heart. The House of Pierogies is being sold, so this could potentially be the last show in that Enfield House of Pierogies, which is a staple for Blitzkrieg Pro and has been for the last few years. And I really hope that with what they put on Twitter and me talking about it here, that everybody makes their way out to the House of Pierogies and shows love to Blitzkrieg Pro. They are a phenomenal brand that brings up a lot of amazing talent and does something even uniquely different from what me at BST and all us out here and then you guys at CPW even do. Like the cool thing about Connecticut independent wrestling is that every brand is different.
Yep.
You might see some familiar faces sprinkled across all the brands, but for the most part, the product that everyone delivers is different.
Yes.
And very different from the other. You can't say that Blitzkrieg is like BST. Same with BST is not like TOS. Same like TOS is not like CPW, and so on and so forth. We're all distinctly different, and I love that.
For a lot of times, you get different fans at each show. However,
Absolutely.
there is that core group of fans that just love the sport of professional wrestling in the state of Connecticut that you will see
Cross-pollination.
cross over to every show. You could see me at a Paradise Alley show on a Friday, but then you'll see me Saturday at Coliseum, and then you'll see me, the following week at a BST show. It's a great mixture of that core group of fans that really love this sport, that keep everything going. It really is. And thank you to everybody that watches everything. Seriously, I didn't discriminate against professional wrestling as a kid. I liked everything. I didn't just watch, oh no, that's not WWF. No, I watched every.
No, we don't do that.
Nope, I watched everything.
That alienating different wrestling brands based on what you like, I think, is the dumbest thing. Just watch wrestling and enjoy it. And if you don't watch. Plain and simple. It's that easy. You don't need to go on Twitter and put all, I hate Dominic Mysterio because he changed his boots to white. Oh my God. You don't need to do all that. It's not necessary. Just watch the product and enjoy it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just think it's funny. There's a lot of fans that are just WWE fans, and that's all they know because that's the largest company. So,
oh man. Yeah. But yeah, we're starting off this Friday, Blitzkrieg Pro, and I will be there in full luau look. So if you see me, say hello. So we got Blitzkrieg GCW on Friday. On Saturday. Excuse me.
I'll be there at the GCW show. You're gonna be there?
I will most likely be there. Actually,
I'll let you buy me a beer. So, yeah.
You'll let me buy you a beer? Sheesh. Fine. I'll put it in the budget.
After your merchandise, count that into your merch booth.
So there you go, fans. Both Rick and I will be at GCW enjoying the good vibes of Game Changer, which, in my opinion, is the #1 independent promotion in the United States. Yeah. There's no ands or buts about it. The following week. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Let's rewind. Also on the 8th, PAPW has Bash at the Brewery, and they announced today the main event, World Championship title match. Hunter Tarka, Brad Baylor. And boy, these two are two of the hot up-and-comers in the Northeast. I saw Hunter Tarka beat the holy crap out of Fly Night Noriega at a CPW show not too long ago. And Brad Baylor has had a rocket strap to his back for quite some time. Yes. They're going to have a banger. I don't put it past them. Then now we fast forward the following week.
Don't forget that same night that GCW is there, that same night that PAPW, I'm sorry to cut you off here, don't forget MLW is presenting a pay-per-view on Fight Plus.
That's right.
Ichiban is also making his MLW debut that weekend. So highly recommend that if you guys are, I'm really behind Ichiban going. So check it out, man. It's going to be a great show.
So MLW, and it's Ichiban versus TJ Crawford.
Yes. I saw him and Kylan King at a PAPW show a couple years ago. Banger.
Both those men, incredible professional wrestlers. TJ Crawford is someone on the radar. He is absolutely precise with his striking. Somebody who can give Ichiban a good run for his money and could potentially play spoiler. I know that main event will be on that show as well. Mm-hmm. So always look out for main event. They're a fun, exciting tag team to watch. Ways to watch. venue show, and then you have on TV at the ECW. Pick one. Just
Yep.
support. The following week, now we fast forward. Thank you, Rick, because I completely forgot about MLW. You had Tessa Strength and Undeniable.
Yep.
And Tessa Strength always puts on top quality professional wrestling in that
100%.
Waterbury, and sometimes Hartford at the dojo. Always put on some amazing work.
Those Waterbury Elks Lodge or Columbia Club, whichever the building is.
Those are special shows.
They put on bangers in that building. I'm telling you right now. Every time I go to a Tested Strength show, I walk away in amazement. Seriously.
Yeah, same. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull up the card so we can talk about it really quick, because that show, if I'm not mistaken, has a couple of matches on there that I'm extremely excited about. Oh yeah, you got Jared Diaz and Mike Skyros.
Oh man,
that's
I'm telling you, Diaz is on a roll, and Skyros is another guy that's one of the best out of the Northeast.
Absolutely. You got The Mission versus Bobby Oceans, Hippie Dickie Moon, and Sammy Diaz. All those men are really, really, really good professional wrestlers. Bobby Oceans is one of the hardest hitters out here. Sammy Diaz is, as he says, top 5, dead or alive. And then obviously the relaxed, chill style of Hippie Dickie Moon against Dan DeMann and his band of cohorts in The Mission. You have Joe Alexander versus Dustin Waller. Whew. I can't even begin.
It's been a while since I've seen Alexander. I'm looking forward to that matchup.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. The big one. Red Sawyer gets a huge opportunity at Test of Strength. Red Sawyer versus Richard Holiday. That match is going to be the sleeper match of the night.
I just read about that probably about an hour before we went on here. And I gotta tell you, I wasn't sure if that was real or not. I said, you've got to be kidding me.
You know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That Test of Strength show is going to be special. And if you're a professional wrestling fan, you're buying a ticket to go to Undeniable. But then you fast forward the next day. Here, Fairfield, Toe Talk Tavern. The battle at Black Rock. We return home. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, BST Wrestling returns where it all began. Toe Talk Tavern. And we got a 6-match lineup that is incredible. Sammy Diaz and Joseph Alexander. Brad Baylor, RJ Rude. Dustin Waller versus Montequilla. Chica Carreras versus Mother Endless. And the main event. The BST Championship on the line. NWA Superstar. Former United States Tag Team Champion. Wrecking Ball Legursky. Takes on Lucas Chase.
Unbelievable. I want to see that match because I'm a fan. Obviously,
listen, there's and again, even taking our show aside, there is so much professional wrestling and good professional wrestling happening in Connecticut. Be at these shows, support these wrestlers, support these brands. Man, let's turn Connecticut upside down by the end of this year. Let's make Connecticut the place to be. And I believe all the promotions that were stated on this show at some point can do this.
Absolutely.
It's amazing time. It's an amazing time to be a professional wrestling fan in Connecticut.
100%. It really is. It really is. Harry, do you got much else is there anything else you got to mention here today?
No, I think we're good. Just go out, support Coliseum Pro August 4th. You know, Test of Strength July 15th, BST July 16th, Blitz Creek and GCW July 7th and 8th. Man, just go support wrestling. Go support independent wrestling. You know, let's do this thing. I'm excited for these next couple weeks.
I'm very excited as well. And of course, if you guys want to get in touch with us, hit us up, prowrestlezone@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter
Ultra,
at PWZ Podcast. And what do you got, Harry, for your Twitter?
I believe my Twitter is Harry Davila BST. It's bad that I don't know my own Twitter handle.
Yeah, gotta be prepared. But anyways, your Instagram is okay. There you go.
Ultra H. It's Harry Davila BST on Twitter. Ultra HD on Instagram. Facebook, you can find me under Harry Davila. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good time, man. It's gonna be a couple these next couple weeks are gonna be hot.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, checking us out each and every week here on WON Sports. And, well, we'll see you next Sunday.
Available on all streaming platforms. It's professional wrestling's greatest, largest, privately owned wrestling library. All the classic hits, flips, slams, and pins of yesteryear are on one place. It's Ultimate Classic Wrestling. Check out the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, Rick Martel, a who's who of professional wrestling's greatest spotlight stars ever to grace the squared circle, all in one place. Grab the best seat in the house for memories and mayhem on Ultimate Classic Wrestling.
I started wrestling very right out of high school, running the circuit in New Jersey and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's close.
Yeah, that's close. I born and raised in New Jersey, self-taught, never went to a wrestling school, you know. Started with DC Drake and Eddie Miranda and Ted Petty in Easton, Pennsylvania area.
Okay.
And you know, being around those three guys, you pretty much learned the business pretty well. So it was pretty cool.
So speaking of that, did you work in the NWF with DC Drake? Going down there, I know he worked for, he ran another group. I think CWA before that.
That was after I left. You
Okay.
know, that's that. I only stayed there for a couple months, and then I got the job with Watts. So
Okay.
yeah,
I was going to ask you about that. What was your initial impression of Bill Watts?
hard ass. You know, everything that everybody's ever told you is true, and probably tenfolds. You know, it's he was a hard ass, but you know, God bless him. He gave me my first break, and if you don't know how to learn to wrestle at Mid-South, you ain't gonna wrestle. Trust me. Yeah.
There's some wild and crazy times there. I mean, you spent time working for him in the UWF as well, and
Yes. Yeah.
and that was when they were probably one of the wilder groups of the time. I think probably.
Yeah, it probably was the first. You know, the early stages of the Attitude Era, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Everybody calls it, you know.
Yeah, that or like the hardcore wrestling, whatever, you know, kind of thing. They did a little bit. It was just every week they had a cliffhanger ending, basically, in a way. You know, it was it was pretty wild. Do you have any? Now, did you work with Shawn Michaels at all down there?
Oh man, we started around the same time, and we basically wrestled each other for a whole year when we first broke in.
Did you have any? How was he different? How was he at that time?
He was a young kid.
He was
a young kid when I was wrestling him. We, you know, we were still in the learning stages of our careers, and he was good back then. You know, excellent back then, and he just got better and better and better.
Yeah, I was watching some old World Class recently, and it's funny to see him as a young guy in there. You know, just regular trunks and just looking so.
Yeah, young little kid. Yeah. San Antonio boy. You know, I remember the first time we wrestled in the Superdome. That was Bill Watts' big show every year, and I wrestled him, and his dad came, and my dad came, and it was like, it was like, we made it.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good show, pretty cool
Yeah.
show with Watts.
Cool. When did you go over to World Class from there?
Well, I was with Watts for a while, met a girl from Oklahoma, fell in love, asked her to marry me, told Bill, can I have a week off to get married? Sure, kid, go ahead. Went to the Bahamas, got married, came back, and he fired me. He goes, you're fired. He goes, but I got you started in World Class. So he called the phone, and that's when I went to World Class. So he fired me and gave me a job too.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I saw you was in World Class growing up. I used to watch it.
It was like probably 85, 86, something around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just and you were paired up with Tatum for a while there, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Johnny came later. Johnny came later with when I went back to Watts in the UWF. That's when we first initially came. Ken Mantell was the booker.
Yep.
He brought him in, and he says, "Oh, I got a great gimmick for you." And man, it was fun. It was fun with Johnny.
Yeah. What about Chris Adams? Working with Chris Adams at that time period?
I really never worked with him.
Yeah.
Got to hang out with them, of course, and stuff like that, but we never wrestled each other.
Okay. What was it? How was he back then as compared to like maybe later on? I know that I've heard like stories about later on, like post like I guess his wrestling career, that he was a little I don't know, kind of crazy a little bit. I don't want without saying anything bad about him. I'm not.
Yeah, I was never around him when he was crazy. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that leading up to his passing, I guess you could say.
Right.
There's a lot of liquor
involved. It's easy to in this business.
Yeah. When you were there, Lance Von Erich was there as well. What was it like working with or not working with, but what was your impression of him? The whole thing, him coming in, being
it was so tough to have a fake Von Erich, you know what I mean? Like like Jesus, who is this kid? Decent worker. Never had a problem with working with him or anything like that. But
did you read his book at all, or did you know about the book?
No, I haven't. Somebody asked me the other day if I can get a hold of him, and is he still in Texas? Do you know? Does anybody know where he's at?
I'm friends with the author, and I'm trying to remember where he told me he's located now. I can't remember actually offhand, but I've read
track him down. You can, you'll let me know later.
Yeah, absolutely. He is on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He
is on social. He is on Facebook, but he doesn't really respond to like messages or anything like that. But I know Vinnie Barry that wrote the book is, I guess he does keep in contact with him. So I've tried to reach out to him, and then I've actually tried to go through him to get him to come on here. And I guess he does not like to be in the public, I guess, as compared to
maybe. Well, you might have just answered my question, because these people want to, bring him in for an autograph session and all that. So if he's not doing that, then don't even waste my time. Yeah,
I think it would be amazing if he did. You know what I mean? Because I think that one of the stories is about him in the book. It was he didn't think that his book would sell at all, or anybody would be interested in his story. But I thought it was a great book, and I thought his story was really good. And I thought he was a very underrated wrestler. It took him a little while to, catch on a little bit, but I thought he was really good after a while.
Yeah. No, very good worker. I mean, great attitude, great kid. Never had any issues with him at all.
Yeah. So when did you go over to, I guess, Crockett in the WCW?
I was in World Class.
Yep.
Me and oh God, it was I forget what year it was, but Dusty called me, and
88, 89, around there.
Yeah, around there. And he goes, "Kid, I'm looking for a Russian assassin #2. You interested?" I said, "Dusty, hell yeah, I'm interested." And he brought me in as Angel of Death's tag team partner with the Russian Assassins. So it was pretty cool.
I don't remember him in there, the Angel of Death, unless I'm
You
missing.
don't
something.
remember the Angel of Death?
No, I remember him, but I don't remember him coming into WCW at all.
Yeah, he was the Russian Assassin #1.
Got you. Okay. No,
Yep.
I do remember him. I guess he died at a young age as well.
Yeah, he
correct?
did. He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember him in World Class and UWF. So yeah, that's right. It's all right. I've had louder dogs in the in the background before, and my kids. So
little
it's cool.
spoiled ass.
So what was it like being paired up with the sheep herders?
Well, that was my first break of coming out from the first, second, third matches, to being thrown into main event status with them crazy asses. It was fun. We Bill said, "Oh, we're gonna do a barbed wire cage match," and people have told me that it was the first barbed wire cage match on television, which I still don't know if it was true or false. But Bill was so cheap, it wasn't an actual steel cage. It was made out of 2x4s and barbed wire. Have you ever seen it? I think it's on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
It's the cheapest looking ass steel cage you'll ever see in your life, because Bill was a cheap ass. And but we brought that match everywhere and sold out everywhere around the Mid-South, and bloody every night. I mean, the barbed wire, not fun.
Yeah. What do you think about the sheep herders when they left the NWA and went over to WWF and doing a complete 180 as far as their gimmick goes?
I never thought it would get over as a babyface gimmick, but it sure did, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, Vince sees things that people go, "Oh, it'll never work," and it worked.
Yeah. I mean, they were still. I mean, they're pretty old by then. I mean, older, I guess, and it
Older,
just.
Yeah. I mean, Luke is still going. He's still working.
I find that crazy. He's working. Where did he work recently?
Yeah, he did a match. He did a tag match the other day or something with somebody.
Yeah, I think he did some work with Tommy Fierro not so long ago up in New Jersey. So yeah,
he's asked me to work with him, and I finally said yes. So that we might be having a match, me and him against somebody in the future. So
yeah,
that could be fun.
Is there any kind of destination for that, like where that might take place, or
it might be Bobby Fulton's place in September up there at his what a place that is.
Yeah, it's his kid, right? That runs it.
Yeah. Bobby and his kids run it, and I was there in the last show. Didn't wrestle, just did signings up there, and they had probably 5,000 people at the show.
I've seen pictures of it, and I find that amazing for an independent that they're bringing in.
In Chillicothe, Ohio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Yeah, I find that crazy. It's awesome though. It really is.
No,
awesome.
It's great. Yeah, good atmosphere.
Yeah. So you wrestled in a heel versus heel match against Kamala in the TV title tournament for the UWF. What was it like working with Mr. James Harris?
He's a trip. We used to do road trips together. He didn't really drive, so I was driving most of the time. And what a great guy! I mean,
yeah,
what a gimmick! I said, what a gimmick! Just to slap your belly and roll around a little bit, no high flying, no nothing. So good guy.
He was a lot of fun to watch. You got to witness him everywhere, basically during that 1980s run that he had. Between World Class, WWF, UWF, etc.
Right. Yeah. No, I think drew a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a question. The Savoldis come up quite a bit on this podcast.
Never got to work with them. Never got to work with them.
That I'm really surprised about, because they brought a lot of
talent up there. They had some really good shows up there.
But didn't you get a chance to work with Joe Savoldi?
No.
And no, you didn't. I remember him being in there. I thought you were able to work with him at that point.
If I did, it was probably I don't think so.
No. Okay. All right.
I have had a lot of concussions though, so don't.
you
He,
you had a
he
long
might call
career
me
though.
tomorrow and go, "You don't remember?" I mean, Jesus.
He has nothing to do with the business like these days. I've tried to get him a couple times, and I've had his brother Mario on, and
Right.
Joe just wants nothing to do with it anymore, which I find shocking. But
Huh.
considering the age of nostalgia, like everybody's just going crazy for a lot of the old rare guests and stuff like that, especially at signings. So let's see where we got what else we got here. How did you being paired up with Hot Stuff International?
Yeah, I mean, Missy caused all that. I mean, that was a shoot breakup with Johnny, and went over to Eddie, and it was crazy times.
It's funny when you guys were all like grouped together. It was like it seemed like it was like my favorite faction because I loved every single
Yeah, it was like the Addams Family, wasn't it? It was everybody had a different look. I mean, the Steiners and Sting and Eddie, and it was just crazy. It was like a freak show.
Yeah. So is that what led to you and Tatum being paired up, or
no? That was way before. Yeah, we got together way before. Was with the Missy, and then the Missy and Johnny breakup, and it was crazy times.
So you were working World Class when Mike Von Erich passed away, correct? Were you at that point?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So let's see when. Do you remember like when his disappearance came about?
I don't really remember too much about it. Just I was there when Chavo disappeared. I mean, it was just crazy times. Not Chavo. What's Chris Adams' tag team partner? Gino. I was there when Gino passed away too. And it's never fun when things like that go down when you're in a territory.
I interviewed. Do you remember Mike Williams at all?
Yeah,
that worked there. I interviewed him a while ago, and that was he was his final opponent. And it's just it was really good to talk to him, but it's just it's kind of crazy to learn the history of that, how that came about.
It's some wild times back there. I mean, I try to tell people stories about things that people have done and things that they do, and how a lot of people are still alive. It's crazy.
I know it seems like some of the people that abuse themselves the worst are still around. It seems, you know what I mean. And then some of the guys that were not necessarily
that weren't the big druggies or anything like that. They kick out when they're way too young.
Yeah. What about going to Wild West Wrestling?
That was
very short.
Mid-South was starting to not Mid-South. World Class was starting to fold a little bit.
Yeah. Still had a couple years.
And Ken Mantell, which was a really good booker. Started that, and it was pretty fun. Just like any territory, you just need the funding and all that stuff, which really dried up.
It looked as if they were running shows in a tiny bar.
It was what was
I forgot. I can't think of the name of it.
It was Fort Worth Stockyards. It was the Country Bar. Pretty big place.
I'm gonna have to look it up. Let's see if I can find it while we're.
It will come to me in a second.
I'm sure it'll take me a second to find it if I'm finding all the TV. But let's see. But that was one of those things, like a group that I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was just it just seemed like it was kind of world class. I guess it was like a feud between Wild West and World Class, kind of.
Right.
And Mantell left, and it just seemed like everybody left World Class at that time to go there, and then I think that's what caused the rift between Lance and Fritz. So he ended up revealing that he wasn't, the actual cousin, etc. Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah. So that I always enjoyed that as a group, though, watching it. I still go back and find the footage on YouTube and stuff. So there's always stuff that I haven't seen.
Yeah, YouTube is a good place to catch up on old wrestling.
I really don't watch a lot of modern stuff. I mean, I do to an extent, but there's not a lot of modern, stuff to that's interesting. So I don't know if you watch it all today. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of painful.
it definitely is. Yeah,
Being in the business, you can tell when somebody choreographs a match. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean? And I mean the women are worse than the guys, unfortunately. But it just you could tell when they know something's coming and they're like ready to duck, and it just I don't watch it really that much
yeah.
anymore.
I watch the big shows. You know what I mean, from
Yeah,
WWE or whatever, and it's like I watched last night's Money in the Bank. I watched it this morning, and it was one of those things where you can definitely tell there was so many spots that were choreographed just to prevent heavy injury or
right,
whatnot. And it's just like, I mean, first off, there's too many spots to begin with. Everything was
right.
like a high spot or choreographed. It's
Yeah,
kind of like
if
you
we
said, it's
did that many
painful.
spots back there for Watts, we would have been fired. I mean, there was no question about it. We would be fired. So the first couple matches in Watts territory, you weren't even allowed to hit the ropes half the times. It was
You gotta
crazy. You got
grapple
to
around.
grapple a little bit.
That's what it was like because I was having that conversation. We were at an indie show last night, and we're talking about a guy that does a lot of high spots. Me and a pal of mine, he goes, and I said, "Yeah, I don't really care for his style that much." And he goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "I like the old school grappling. That's what made me a wrestling fan." It's like, and I
There's
still
really no main
40 some
event
odd years.
anymore. Everybody is balls to the wall from
Yeah.
the opening to the end. There's no build up, no build up, no build up. It's just the main events sometimes go on second, and
Well,
there's
there's
no really no difference.
the thing with WWF is WWE, excuse me. It's like there's two titles. There's always two world titles, and there are two main titles. So it's like one is
Yeah,
always on first, and then the other is always on last. It's just like that to me is kind of aggravating in a way,
right.
you know. Let's see here. I don't know what the oh no. Did you work with Phil Apollo at all, or work beside him at all?
I know, Phil. Yeah,
Vince, yeah,
yeah.
we just had him on. It was the first ever interview he's ever done. Uh,
Really?
yeah, he and I got to tell you, man, it was awesome to talk to him, and it was awesome that he actually chose us to be his first and supposedly only. I don't know how true that is,
Pretty
but
cool.
there's
Huh.
ever since that interview came out, there's a lot of promise. There's a lot of interest in having him because people have contacted me looking for him and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not giving the information out then without his permission, but he has
Right.
so much
Exactly.
a little
Yeah.
especially guys like looking for autograph signings and stuff. But Phil was awesome. So is there any memories working with him like at that time period when he came
I
through
mean,
there for that
just a
7 or 8 months or whatever?
yeah. I mean, just a great guy. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were way back in the day when matches were called in the ring,
Yeah.
it's great to work with somebody with talent. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you had to be talented, or you didn't last
Yes.
back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so no, it was a blessing. Good guy.
Yeah. And you were feuding over the belts with the you and Tatum with the Fantastics and the Simpsons and stuff. So
Yep, two
yeah.
great tag teams. Yeah, more with the Fantastics.
Yep.
We world class and UWF with the Fantastics. We wrestled them. Christ, a shitload.
Yeah.
So it was yep.
So of course you went in, you were one of the Russian assassins, of course, in let's see what else I was going to say. And you ended up teaming with Rip Morgan as well as the
Right.
New Zealand musician militia.
Yeah, after they broke up the Russian assassins,
Yep.
they kept me around. I did a little bit of singles. I mean, I must have had 37 gimmicks there.
Yeah. Yes.
I was always basically Jack Victory, but it was Jack Victory with some doing Secret Service, whatever it was. And I was just happy to keep my paychecks rolling in. So that was
Yeah.
I never said no. But finally, Rip is actually Butch's from his nephew,
Right.
and
Right.
so that's how we got to get talking. And Rip was a great tag team partner. We had a blast with Lord Littlebrook as our manager, with the
Yep.
royal family and the New Zealand militia and stuff like that. So we did. It was fun.
Do you ever think that as a tag team that you guys would have gotten a push? Because I always thought that it should have happened because I really enjoyed that as a tag team. You're just
They
kind of just
changed
there
they changed bookers so
so
much,
many times.
so
Yeah,
many times, and you would just, Kevin Sullivan was there booking, and he started giving us, and he left, and this and this, and it's all about the power of the pencil back then. It was
it always
we never
seemed.
really got a good push.
Yeah, it
Decent
always seemed like
middle of the card push, but nothing really above that.
WCW was kind of a mess at that time
Oh my
period as
God,
far as
it
like
was so crazy.
yeah
when
with the
when they sold it out and Herd came in and all that, it was just crazy.
yeah
We're putting everybody on contracts. That part was okay,
yeah
but yeah, it was crazy.
yeah guaranteed pay though, right? If with the
Yeah, it was,
contract,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
You can
so I
sit
mean,
home and get paid. Yeah, so that was nice.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's not
No,
bad.
no, it was, yeah, my back loved it.
Yeah. All right. So this is one that I'm really interested in. So Dennis Condrey walked out, I guess,
Okay.
during the time period. You ended up replacing him in a match for Chi-Town Rumble, I believe. Yeah, Chi-Town.
Chi-Town Heat, Chi-Town Rumbles. Yeah,
Yeah, one
Chicago.
of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
and teaming with Randy Rose against the Midnight Express, Bobby and Stan. Do you know what led to that, or how you were chosen to be his replacement for that night?
I have no idea, but do you realize that I actually wrestled twice that night?
I
I
believe
was
you did.
actually the Russian assassin
Yes. Yep.
against Michael Hayes, and then they brought me back and wrestled in the tag. That was my biggest payoff ever.
Really?
They
Really?
paid me. Yeah, they paid me twice, so that was nice.
Wow. It's well, was that like a
How
last
they
minute
got-
change?
Huh?
Was that a last minute change? Like all
I
of a sudden?
don't remember how it went down.
Yeah.
I know I was supposed to wrestle Michael, and
Yeah.
I don't know how I ended up in that tag match.
Yeah.
It was fine.
I remember Randy Rose sticking around for a little while after that, and then Dennis just disappearing. I guess that he just walked out of the company, which I
Yeah.
guess seemed somewhat regular from what I understand. Like if he wasn't happy, he would just leave. So
Well, he has his own companies, so
Okay.
he doesn't need the business. Randy's a very smart dude.
yeah,
Owns a couple companies, and like I said, he doesn't need the business. I saw him a couple at one of the gatherings a couple years ago, and he looks great. Like I said, really don't need the business.
yeah.
It was great seeing him. He was always a good dude. We always when we were in Atlanta, we always lived like 5 minutes from each other, so
Wow.
we hung out a lot. So
Yeah.
good dude.
Yeah. I have several of your WCW gimmicks listed here.
Okay.
So we're gonna go through 'em.
Okay, great.
The blackmailer.
Yeah, that was my least favorite.
Yeah. How long did that last? I only remember one time on.
They
Yeah.
let's put it this way. They just brought the suit along,
Yeah.
and if they didn't want me to wrestle as Jack Victory, they'd throw me under the hood. That was
Okay.
basically it. I broke Dr. Death's nose in
Was that at
Albany,
Clash of the
Albany,
Champ-
New York.
Okay.
Albany, New
Okay.
York. It was a TV taping.
Okay.
I told him to duck, and he did not, and I laid it right across his face and broke his nose.
Wow.
So
Did he give you anything for that or no?
no,
I
he
mean,
loved it.
not-
He loved it. He was a tough dude. He didn't care.
Yeah. About you're also the terrorist. I'm trying to remember that one.
Yeah, that was not that lasted about a minute.
Yeah. And then the Super Destroyer, which I do remember that one, but I don't.
That lasted
Yeah.
a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you were like the ultimate utility guy, I guess. Anytime that they could count on you.
Kept the checks coming in. You know what I mean? That's it.
There you go. Oh, my computer. Let's see. You also worked with Paul E, being managed by him shortly. How was Paul E?
Paulie, he actually came up with that Secret Service gimmick. And basically his bodyguard type, that type thing. And Paulie's wrestling mind is beyond,
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, he never treated me bad. He was a good guy. Still a good guy.
Yeah. He has been one of my favorites for many years. His creative mind, and it's a shame that he does not have his own company any longer. But I guess that it's given him his longevity for his career. I actually got to witness you in where was I? Was it Buffalo, New York, when you worked ECW? When you paired up with them? I'm trying to remember the pay-per-view. Was it November to Remember? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
I just remember it being fucking cold, basically, for my language. So, it was just, but we had a fun time. So back then we would drive a couple hours to go to pay-per-views or the ECW arena or something like that. I'm too old to be doing stuff like that these days. I don't have the tolerance to drive to shows like that anymore. So,
can you stand by 1 second?
Absolutely, no problem. Let's see. In 1990, you actually you made a full-time return, and you were in did you wrestle Masa Saito in the Great Muda for the Pat O'Connor Memorial Tag Team Tournament?
That was with Rip Morgan. That was right.
Yeah.
That was right. We left. I mean, Rip wanted to go home. He's a New Zealand guy. I mean, he was homesick, and he saw the writing on the wall that we weren't going to get a push to where he was going to be happy.
Yeah.
So he decided to go home, and basically I stepped out of the wrestling business for a couple of years myself, and got back in when I went to go see Paulie, and Tommy Dreamer, basically said, "Hey, do you want to come back?" And I said, "Oh yeah, what the hell."
We can talk about that, and then I'm going to go backwards and ask some more questions regarding to that era. But what was it like when you went to ECW? What was it like, and what was
it was really cool, man. It was like I was like a kid again, going, "Oh, this is fun." They actually brought wrestling back to fun. It was it was a trip.
Watching ECW was like while they had like a lot of crazy kind of extreme stuff, it was like watching wrestling when you were growing up or when I was growing up in the 1980s, like an old school kind of like Crockett or UWF type vibe. It was just very minimalistic, I guess you could say, and that's what I appreciated about professional wrestling. Not the big gigantic production. They did have loud music, but but they mixed a lot of different styles, and they were very innovative. You know what I mean? So, what was it like being you were teamed up with Carino at that time?
Well, that came late. That came about a year after with ECW. Me and Carino hit it off really well. It was a fun little gimmick. I broke my knee. Shoot broke my knee, and I had to do the wheelchair gimmick and all that stuff. So it was.
I remember that.
It was good times. Yeah.
Let's see. And you feuded with Tommy Dreamer while you were there, correct?
Yeah. Yep. My first gimmick matches were with New Jack.
Okay.
That was my first interaction with ECW was with New Jack. I was at ringside. I rolled in. Everybody thought I was going to be a baby face. Picked up the guitar and smashed it over New Jack's head, and we started our own little blood fest. So that was pretty cool.
So you enjoyed working with New Jack? That guy was always
great guy. Yeah, very good guy.
Yeah, the first time I saw him was he was part of the tag team in Smoky Mountain, and then next thing you know, he's like popped up in ECW, and I was very surprised actually. But he went on to great fame, I guess, in the singles competition for ECW.
Yeah,
and had a huge cult following.
What an easy little gimmick! I mean, they played his music. He ran down and hit people with gimmicks. What a you could do that till you're 90.
Yeah, he did that quite a bit. Yeah, and then I guess once or twice he got in trouble with it. There was a mass transit incident.
There was a. Yeah, if he didn't like you, I wouldn't get in the ring with him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, remember I was at an ECW show, the White Plains, New York, and he was actually standing next to me. And I guess it was obviously ECW was known for fights breaking out in the crowds as well. I'm not sure if you ever recall that. And he,
Oh,
I guess,
we had a riot on the streets in L.A. You know, that
yeah,
was
yeah,
quite a fun. Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. It was always a blast going to shows. So,
Yeah.
that was there. Yeah. And I just remember him going like, yo, you guys got to get out of here. The cops are coming. So I remember that. So we literally, the show was shut down at one point. I think it might have been a TV taping actually as well. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
It was there was fights in Philly, on the streets in Philly. We had some pretty good fights with fans.
Yeah. It was a very unique setting.
Yeah,
Very
many
well, yeah.
many bar fights, many things where, you know, when you go out in a bar and you're around the boys and everybody starts drinking and they start getting jealous and all that stuff, and oh, wrestling's fake, and oh geez, you know, then it starts flying.
Did you ever respond to that? If anybody said that wrestling is fake, that's a term I never ever use. So,
I mean, I was known to have a short fuse, especially with a couple of Jack and Cokes in me. I'm not saying I never had a bar fight in my day, because I have.
right.
The fake thing really never bothered me.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
where other boys would have been you know, crazy, like you slapped your mama. You know what I mean?
Working with the Youngblood brothers, the Renegade Warriors in WCW. Yeah. You actually was it Chris Youngblood that passed recently in the last 2 years?
I think it was Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was a very nice guy. I remember communicating with him quite a bit.
Yeah. Awesome guy. It sucks talking about how many guys have passed away, you know, so young. But it's the facts of life, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we're all getting to that age where it's gonna happen. So
yeah.
Let's see. I just want to make sure this is correct. Did you spend some time? Did you make a trip down to Smoky Mountain?
No.
At all? No.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so. I may have wrestled once.
Yeah.
Or twice. Never stayed there as a territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to make sure that wasn't correct information. Let's see here. Let's see what else I got here. It says something about here. This was also sent in by another person here. Is that maybe working with like Bobby and Jackie Fulton or the Rich Brothers?
No, never wrestled them.
All right. Did you ever have any interest in working Mexico or Japan?
I wrestled both.
Yeah.
Did two tours to Japan, and when I left WCW, I actually went to Mexico. I was supposed to be there for 3 months, and I made it a month. It was not a fun place.
Really?
It's not a fun place.
I've heard multiple stories about things like that.
I couldn't figure the 2 out of 3 fall gimmick. I just the hotels were the shits. Yeah, not a happy time.
Yeah, I've heard who was it? I think it was Phil Apollo actually spoke somewhat recently about the making sure you don't drink the water. And
it happened to me. I brushed my teeth with the damn water, and I was on the bowl, sitting on the bowl and throwing up, and it was coming out both ends. I mean, it was bad. Eddie Guerrero, he actually saved my life. He actually went to the pharmacy, because you can buy anything at the pharmacy in Mexico, and he got me stuff to settle me down, because I thought I was dying. I think I really wanted to die, because it was not fun. So do not drink the water or brush your teeth with the water, because that's all it took. It just a little bit of it was just crazy. Not fun.
Imagine. Yeah. I'm showing that you worked. Did you work? Is this correct here? 01? Or is it World 1? 01.
01.
Yeah, 01. And you worked there with you teamed with Steve Corino, actually.
Yes, Steve and T.W. Anderson. Us 3 went over at the same time, and I was more like a gimmick manager. I wrestled a couple matches there.
Right.
It was fun. Japan is a trip. They treat you like gold.
That's
They
what I've
treat
heard.
you really good.
Yeah. Of course. Let's see. Did you end up spending any time in Global at all? Returning down to Texas for Global at all? Or
I was in Global for a little while. I
yeah,
really don't remember it that much as like world class, but it was
yeah.
there. I was there for a little bit, not much.
Was there any impressions of like working there? Maybe like returning there. I mean, because it was a completely different kind
It
of
was completely
group.
different talent and all that. It was fun. Texas is a
Yeah.
great place to work. I mean, you can literally hit that state for weeks and weeks and weeks and not go to the same town. That's a big place.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm gonna say. Let's see. I'm trying to go through my notes here. You also you wrestling in Worcester, Mass against Spike Dudley. Do you remember this? Taking a loss to Spike?
I
No.
don't remember that.
Might have been short lived because a lot of his matches were very
He's a
short.
cheating little bastard, that Spike Dudley.
Actually, I have two matches listed here. Singles matches with you. I guess you had lost by DQ at one of them in Revere, Mass. That's what I got here. So
I remember that town.
yeah,
That was like the dog track area, right? The dog track.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the dog track. Yeah, that was a good place. That was fun.
that was fun. Let's see. Yeah, we got Global. Did you ever encounter Joe Pedicino
I know
while
Joe.
he was while he was there?
Yep.
And now he's obviously passed over the years, as we've mentioned several times. And about people.
Yeah.
What was your impressions about him? Because I thought he was like a very influential personality in the world of professional
His wife was
wrestling.
Bonnie, right? His
Yeah,
wife
Bonnie
was
Blackstone. Yep.
And
yep.
I'm pretty sure Bonnie ran the damn company.
Really?
Joe was just the front man.
Yeah.
But it was okay.
Yeah.
I heard that he was screwing over the boys at the end. I don't
He
know.
ended up leaving at some point, and I think somebody else took over another company, and that's when all the gimmicky stuff started to happen there. Like it all became very, I guess, I don't want to say childish, but very cartoony.
Right.
All the gimmicky stuff. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I've wrestled for them a couple times. It was okay.
Yeah. You reunited with Rip there.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. We had a couple shows there. We actually wrestled for the first time ever as a babyface.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I was never a babyface in my whole career. In a couple matches.
Yeah.
It was.
What was that like? Was it? Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun, different. Yeah, fun, different.
About now, another guy working with Gary Young and Jeff Gaylord while you were there.
Jeff Gaylord was the only wrestler that actually shot on me. And you know what I mean when I say shit?
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to hurt me. And I punched him in the face, pretty much knocked him out. And went back, and Grizzly Smith goes, what the hell was that? I said, he was trying to hurt me out there. I said, we're not out here to hurt. I mean, we get hurt enough not trying to hurt somebody.
Right.
And he says, Grizzly Smith said, I'll take care of it. So that was my reaction with the Gaylord. But so yeah, that's the only one that actually tried to hurt me actually out there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's no, he's also gone as of just a few months ago. What are you up to these days?
Me, I am I drive a flatbed truck now.
Okay.
Monday through Friday, only in the state of Florida. Friggin' love it. It's like almost packing your bags and leaving out to go wrestle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's great.
Doing some signings here and there.
Yeah.
Not many. I'm actually wrestling in a match in Canada in the first week in September.
Okay.
They actually talked me into actually coming up there and wrestle, so that should be fun.
Coming out of retirement.
Retirement and doing a ECW death match.
Oh geez.
Against one of their kids up there, so it should be fun.
Do you have the information for that or the dates exactly?
I don't know. He actually when I get it, I'll pass it on to you.
Okay,
let you
great.
know. I
I'll
know it's
push it.
September 2nd. I don't know what the town or I know Hannibal is the guy I'm wrestling.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know who I'm talking
I
about?
know. Yeah, I know him. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's who I'm supposed to be wrestling in an ECW death match. So that should be fun.
All right. Well,
Yep.
that sounds interesting. That's a Great North Wrestling, I believe, is
Great
his
North
company.
Wrestling. Exactly.
So I'll probably see the information actually because I do
Okay.
follow him and his YouTube page. But I also see that you did work in 2021. You teamed up with Colby Carino,
I
Steve's
did,
son.
and I never knew what I was getting myself into until I got there that night because I
I'm
really didn't follow that crazy gimmick matches that they have in. I go, what
it
did you
was
get me into, dude?
I'm
Because
looking
that
at
was
the
supposed to only
company.
manage. He said,
Yeah,
"Will you come and manage me?" I went, "Sure." It was in Tampa, just across the state. Not a problem.
yeah.
And when I got there, I mean, well, it was about a week before. He goes, "They want you to wrestle." I said, "You take all the bumps, we'll be okay." I figured, a tag match.
Right.
Let the kid wrestle. I'll be on the apron. No, we wrestled. Oh my God, the husband and wife team, the
It's
The
yeah,
Kirks,
Brandon Kirk and Casey Kirk.
and
I
Casey
have
Kirk.
here.
Yeah, they beat the
Yeah.
crap out of me,
I'm gonna have to.
bastards. She hit harder than he did.
It's ICW No Holds Barred,
Yeah,
Deathmatch Horror Story 2021. I do subscribe to the channel that they're on, so I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go watch this. I'm gonna watch it
yeah.
now.
He beat the crap out of me.
Did you
It
bleed
was
at all?
no, it was. I didn't. I think I would have a better match now.
Yeah.
Than being like a virgin going there and going, oh my God, what the hell did I get myself into? I think I
Yeah.
would have a funner match now. They'll probably never bring me back. I don't think he runs in Florida anymore.
Yeah, I don't
A lot of
remember
it's
where they run.
over up north.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw the name. I was like, I don't recall. I thought it was
This
a
was
northern.
literally in the back of a pawn store that looked like a damn junkyard.
That's
It
indie
was
wrestling
the
today.
craziest thing
Yeah.
in the world. But there was they sell it they stream it and they sell
Yep.
it, and apparently he does really good doing it.
Yeah, they have that's a company that's got quite a following, you know what I mean,
Right.
these days. So it's there's a lot of people that really like that company a
Yeah,
lot.
Danny's the owner, right? Danny.
Uh that I'm not sure of who the promoter is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to look that up, but yeah.
I got to see Eddie's brother, Doug Gilbert. Doug Gilbert
Yep.
was there, so I got to see Doug. So that was great.
Yeah.
And of course, always seeing Kobe was always great. I used to beat the crap out of him when he was 3.
I wonder where
So,
he's I guess he recently returned to the NWA, I guess somewhat recently, because
yeah,
I guess he had signed with NXT WWE and then
I think so. I
yeah.
think, yeah, I don't know the whole story. Haven't talked to Steve about that, so I have no idea.
Yeah. So you're pretty much not involved in professional wrestling these days outside of a couple signings, and obviously you have a match coming up. Yeah.
I do. I'm pretty excited. To go back and do a little bit. I had somebody recently made a Russian assassin gimmick for me, so I'm planning on bringing back that gimmick in a couple matches. So that should be fun.
That should be fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep me posted on that. We'll
will.
bring
I
it up
will.
here if you ever want to come back and talk about it.
Sure.
Especially after they happen.
Maybe as a Russian with no.
There you go. There you go. Jack, how can everybody find you?
I really just follow Instagram, Jack Victory 82.
Okay.
I'm not a really big social. If you reach out to me, I will. I'll holler at you just like you did.
Yeah.
Basically, and yeah, I appreciate you spending a little time with me.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on today.
Anytime, and if we'll maybe do it again in the future because we got tons of stories, got tons of things to talk about.
I would love to sit there and talk some classic stories.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not inside the ring. I'll tell you the stories outside the ring. They're a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure that those are going to be some fun stories. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We had a good time. wrestlers today are very boring.
That's a whole nother that I can do a whole episode on. I can do a whole episode on that. But yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.